This is Noir Alley, and I'm your host, Eddie Muller. I hope you were with us last week when we showed a top-of-the-line A picture from RKO, The Racket, starring Robert Ryan, Robert Mitchum, and Elizabeth Scott. This week we have a B offering from the same studio. It's Destination Murder from 1950. And if the star of today's film, Joyce McKenzie, looks familiar to you, it's because you saw her last week as Mary McQuigg, Robert Mitchum's wife. This film, however, was not made at RKO. It was a completely independent production made by veteran director Edward L. Kahn under several umbrella companies. Crystal Pictures, which was part of Prominent Features, which was part of Edward L. Kahn Productions. Kahn raised the minimal budget himself and sold the finished film to RKO outright, cash on the barrelhead. But this was no upstart breaking into the picture business. Although Edward Kahn was only 50 years old when he made Destination Murder, he had been working in film since he was a teenager, first as a production assistant in the silent era, then as a valued editor at Universal, where he was allegedly credited with saving 1930's All Quiet on the Western Front in the editing room. He was soon in the director's chair, making exceptional pre-code films, such as 1932's Law and Order from a script by a young John Huston. Afraid to Talk, also released in 1932, is an unjustly neglected proto-noir, and Laughter in Hell is a jaw-dropping adaptation of the Jim Tully Chain Gang novel. Yet inexplicably, by the middle of the 30s, Kahn was relegated to making shorts, mostly for MGM, including many in the Our Gang and Crime Does Not Pay series. Well, rather than wait for scraps to be doled out by a big studio, Kahn went independent in the late 40s, producing his own low-budget movies or working as a hired gun for other independent producers. With Destination Murder, he was working with a script by the prolific Don Martin, not the legendary Mad Magazine cartoonist, but a former writer at The Hollywood Reporter who had an exceptional knack for crafting complex mystery plots that ran barely over an hour. Don Martin was no Ben Hecht or Jonathan Latimer, but tasked with writing an engrossing plot limited to only a few sets, the guy had remarkable flair for tweaking formulaic material just enough to keep you in your seat, sometimes on the edge of it. You will see what I mean in Destination Murder. It's only 72 minutes long, but it has enough plot twists for a mini-series, and Martin and Kahn sustain a constant level of suspense even while you're smirking at how preposterous the whole thing is. And that's where really good players are indispensable, and Destination Murder definitely benefits from its casting. Joyce McKenzie, who could be Barbara Hale's twin sister,
you must have made quite a killing,
plays a sexy Nancy Drew going undercover to find her father's killer. But unlike Nancy Drew, she has no qualms about trading sex for information. First with Stanley Clements, then with Hurd Hatfield, and finally with Albert Decker. The hapless cop who's supposed to be investigating her father's murder, played by James Flavin, is a bit taken aback by her brazen tactics. So is Myrna Dell, one of the great blonde floozies of the era, who is separately running her own game on all these guys. There isn't an honest character in the bunch, and the double and triple crosses come fast and furious.
Don't ever try to fool me.
Hey, they have barely more than an hour to fit them all in. Audiences watching Destination Murder in 1950 expected diabolical things from Decker and Hatfield. It was inspired casting, pairing Dr. Cyclops with Dorian Gray, the characters these actors were most known for. Both actors specialized in villains with a streak of perversity, fully exploited here. But viewers got a surprise with Stanley Clements. He was famous as Stash, one of the East End kids of the popular film series. He'd also made a big impression in Going My Way and Salty O'Rourke, where he co-starred with Alan Ladd. He earned some extra notoriety for his stormy 3-year marriage to Gloria Graham. But this was a different version of Stanley Clements, still a wiseacre street urchin, but one with a decidedly noir twist. Look, I don't want to oversell Destination Murder. It's a B film made on a bare-bones budget, but I love this movie. It's daffy, impoverished, illogical, and a huge amount of fun. One of the main reasons I watch movies and love them. So let's take a trip to the land of B-movie make-believe. Destination Murder.